Hey, it's Mary Beth Decker with sacredgrowth.com. I'm here to talk about my UConnect animal communication course. And I want to tell you that my becoming an animal communicator was not on my list of things I could do or was thinking of when it started to happen. And I want to tell you this because um, a lot of us have this belief that being intuitive, or the word is psychic, which is a little scarier to me. It's like, woo, um, is out of our reach. And I am living proof that not true. Okay, I am not an exception to the rule. And so my story is that I started communicating with my animals late in life. And all right, so who would have thunk that a retired Navy officer would become an animal communicator? I can't say I'm any different. Like, no, I don't think so. It wasn't on my radar. But I retired and I started working another beautiful job for an association. And then I was taking classes in intuition development and opening up a different side of my brain, honestly. So that's when it happened. And in those intuition classes, nobody said, and now, Mary Beth, you can connect with your animals. So instead of having it to come through the class, my animals just decided to start communicating with me. Like, what the heck? Maybe you've heard the story, but first, two of my dogs came and communicated very clearly with me after they died. Can I say that in clear? They had left the planet. I thought they were okay, but I didn't expect to get a message from them. And that means so much. If any of you have had that experience, it means so much to me. I've told this story so many times and I still love it. My dog Timmy, he was a street dog that we picked up when we were stationed in Hawaii. And he was a Navy guy. He moved, what is it, 4 times before we settled down here in Virginia, and he passed away. And while I was learning intuition and doing all that cool stuff, I'm at the kitchen stove cooking a probably barely edible dinner. Yeah, cooking is not one of my fortes, but I can do it. And I see out of the corner of my eye, literally, my dog. And it's not like the ghost stuff you see where they're kind of gray and you see through them. He was there. I mean, he looked like he was right with me. I turned my eye. I said, Timmy, and he disappeared. But what I love to say is, in that very short time, and I knew that he had survived death as a being, not just some energetic stuff. He was still Timmy. And he was happy. He had that Timmy grin. One ear up and one ear down. That was my guy. And finally, he did whatever it took to come back and tell me he was fine. And he loved me because I got that from him. Wow, what a gift, right? So then my dog Eddie, she actually, after she passed, she came through to comfort me when I was on a business trip. And that was the last thing I wanted to do, was be out there with people. And she showed up to comfort me through that. Talk about empathy. I'm so lucky to be telling you these stories, actually. Okay, anyway. And then the live dogs started coming through. My dog Mitsubishi, there's stories, you can find them on my website, about how he told me off about doing energy healing. It was pretty funny. And then my dog here, who's sitting next to me, Tibor, who was the guy who got me to do animal communication. I started seeing visions about his previous life. He was rescued. He is not a rescue now. He is a perfectly fine, happy, wonderful dog. Just want to tell you, we don't have to stay there. But I got some visions from his rescue time, and it was a little alarming. And so I didn't know animal communication was a thing. And I talked to one of the folks that I knew, and she says, "Oh, yeah." And I researched it. I thought, oh my goodness, I want to know more. And I started taking classes in order to do this on purpose rather than just having them, pop in, you know. And that's when it took off for me. So if you wanted some version of this for yourself, we're all different. We all receive intuition differently. But if you wanted some of this for yourself, you can do it. You're wired up. And you love your animals enough to be listening to me talking about this crazy thing called intuitive animal communication. Your love will be the key to opening up your abilities. And it's a skill. And because it's not something I was born with, I think, or I believe, that I have some insight into what it takes to turn that stuff on, because it wasn't on before. So I noticed the before and the after. Before I could do it, after I could do it. And I've worked with a lot of good people who've taught me a lot of great stuff, and I want to share them with you. So you got to come to class or watch the replay. We always record it and send it out in case you can't be there. You got to practice in class. You got to read stuff, and you got to practice outside of class, because you can't just think it. You got to do it. You got to practice, just like anything else. And then I'd love if you help me turn my vision into a reality. Become the animal communicator in your family to bring more insight into what's going on with your animal and more ideas about how to help them, because you've got some new mad skills to do it. I'd love that. I would love that, and I think you would too. That's what I'm saying. So anyway, this would be a time to join the interest list, because if you're not interested, I don't want to bother you with more emails. But if you are, join the interest list. I'll send you some more information. And if you sign up for the course, you're going to save a good amount on tuition for your intuition class. Trying to be clear here. So thank you for listening, and hope you join the interest list. And then I hope you take a look at what I'm teaching and say, I think I want to do this. I think I want to have this ability in my life now. Bye.